Hey everyone, welcome back to the Accidental CEO podcast. I'm your host, Nata Salvatori, and today we're doing a solo episode. I fought it for as long as I could, guys. My editor said I needed to do it, my coaches said I needed to do it, and I'm just not a big fan of being talking here by myself, but we're going to make it happen today because we need to share some important information. I want to share something that has been in my heart for a long time and something that I do work with my coaching clients very, very often. So here it comes, my first solo episode since the first episode of this podcast where I shared my journey from how we got here with you guys. So if you haven't listened to that one, definitely go back and take a listen so you can understand a little bit more of where I'm coming from and all the things you need to know about me. So today, we're going to dive into all things entrepreneurship, mindset, and specifically talking about work-life integration today. So today we're going to bust open a topic that I think weighs heavily on a lot of us. I'm talking about the idea of work-life balance. More specifically, why it doesn't actually exist and the way you have been led to believe it does, and why we need to stop beating ourselves up about it. If you ever try to balance your personal life and your work life and it felt like you were failing, or if you've experienced that guilt of being a parent, running a business, and feeling like you're constantly letting one side down, you are in the right place. Today, we're going to talk about why that pressure to achieve balance is not only unrealistic, but also damaging. We are going to explore some shifting from balance to work life integration, which can transform your life, your relationships, and even your business. I'm very, very excited for this solo conversation between me and you, just between me and you. So stick with me because I'm going to share some real life examples, both from my own journey and some from my clients. And we'll get into that deep stuff, like why we should stop feeling guilty about working hard in front of our kids and how to turn that guilt into a learning opportunity. Sounds good? Let's get into it. Welcome to the Accidental CEO podcast, where we bridge the gap between the creativity you love and the CEO mindset you need. I'm your host, Nata Salvatori, wedding photographer and business educator. Find full show notes and resources at accidentalceopod.com. Let's get into today's episode. So let's talk about this idea of work-life balance. It's been sold to us as the holy grail of happiness, that image of perfect balance. It's one side you balance your personal and your work life in two even scales where everything is harmonious and balanced and without conflict. But like me, you're probably wondering, is that even possible? Is that even a thing? And here's the reality: life doesn't work that way. I think most of us can agree that we have moments where one area of life needs more attention than the other, and trying to give them both the same weight all the time is just exhausting. The idea that we're supposed to split ourselves into these perfectly portioned parts of worker, parent, partner, and self equally and balance everything in a single day is just unrealistic. And frankly, it's set up to be failure is to create guilt. I remember in the early years of building my business, I would spend hours trying to schedule my day so that work got just enough of me and my family got the same. I would end up feeling guilty when work ran late and frustrated when I couldn't give the business my all because family needed my attention. And I thought I was doing something wrong. Like I just needed to figure out the formula for balance. But the truth is, no matter how hard I tried, that perfect formula just doesn't exist. I'm sure you've been in that same situation before. So, and here's why. Balance really implies that things need to be equal all the time. And life is just not that predictable. It's actually very inconsistent. Sometimes the work requires more of you, and sometimes life demands more. And That is completely fine. That is okay. Expecting that you can balance both 50-50 at all times sets you up for that constant feeling of failure. And we don't want to do that. We know that for you to build confidence as a person and as a business owner, you need to be counting on those little wins that you have on a day to day basis. So, all right, if your work life balance isn't the answer, then what is the answer? There's more to work life integration, and that's where it comes in. I want to be really clear about what that means because it's a subtle shift, but it's a very powerful one that if you adopt and you really start living by it, it will make a huge difference for you as it did for me. I'm 100% sure. Instead of seeing work and life as two separate boxes that you need to be balanced and equally distributed into, work life integration is more about blending them in a way that feels natural. Think more of like a flow where work and personal life coexist. And they might overlap at times, but that's completely fine. In fact, it can be better than okay. It can be healthier and more fulfilling way to live your life. For example, has been some countless times where I've had to take business calls while doing some school pickups or even brainstorm business ideas while cooking dinner. At first, I felt guilty about it. I'm not going to lie. Like I was failing at both. I wanted to give them my full attention, but it just wasn't happening. But then I realized something. Life and work don't have to be separate. They don't have to be competing with each other at the same time. They can coexist. And when I embraced that, I stopped feeling like I had to clock out of being a business owner and to be a mom, and vice versa. That integration, this fluidity, the movement made me a better parent and a better business owner at the end of the day. Integration is more about flexibility. It's recognizing that sometimes work will take priority and sometimes life will. It's about allowing both to exist in harmony instead of creating unnecessary stress by trying to balance them all at the same time. Now, I want to talk about something that I know weighs heavily on a lot of parents, this constant guilt we feel when we're running a business. Is that little voice on the back of your head that says, you're not spending enough time with your kids, you're working too much, you're not doing enough for them. That sounds familiar? I've had that in my head, only with an accent. I bet yours doesn't have it. So I've been there. And I know that for parents who are also entrepreneurs, this guilt is very real. I hear that from my clients all the time. I have to work through it with them. It's definitely one of those beliefs that we all have as parents, as a business owners, that we need to reframe it in our minds. We worry that by focusing on our business, we are somehow failing our kids. But here's the truth, that guilt is not helping anybody. In fact, it's very often based on some outdated idea that work and family should never overlap and that you're either 100% on as a parent or 100% on in your business. But life, again, doesn't just work that way. It's not as black and white, it's not as separate and divided as we would like to paint. So here's something to consider. Your kids are learning from you. They're watching you build something. They're seeing you chase your dreams, work hard, and create life that you are proud of. So, why is that not a great thing? That's an incredible lesson that you're teaching your kids. When my kids see me working, they don't see a mom who's too busy for them. They see a mom who is passionate and driven and dedicated. I hear them brag about how their mom is a CEO of 7 companies and they're very excited about having their own business one day. We have these conversations all the time. They're learning about responsibility, time management, what it means to go after what you really want. So instead of feeling guilty, I've reframed as showing them the value of hard work and the importance of following through your commitments. Those are great, valuable lessons that you can teach by example, by letting them watch you work in your business. And you know what? I also make sure to integrate them into my process. Sometimes I'll explain them what I'm working on and let them help with small things. This shows them that work isn't far off thing that takes me away from them. It's part of our lives. It's how we as a family are able to enjoy the things that we do. It just needs a little reframing in your mind and how you present that information, and it can become a huge asset to lessons you can share with your family. Today's episode is brought to you by the Accidental CEO app. Are you looking for quick, powerful lessons to grow your business without the overwhelm? The Accidental CEO app is here with bite-sized mini courses designed to help you scale, streamline, and succeed in record time. Why you love these mini courses so much? Well, they're quick and actionable. You're going to learn game-changing strategies in minutes and start applying them immediately. There's expert insight, access to proven tips and techniques from successful entrepreneurs who have been there and done that. Business growth on the go. Whether you need help with delegation, scaling, or mindset shift, these courses are tailored to fit your busy schedule. It's result-focused, no fluff, just practical advice and tools to help you reach the next level. Are you ready to boost your revenue, reclaim your time, and become the CEO your business needs? Start with one of our mini courses today and see the difference. Download the Accidental CEO app now at the App Store, and you can also find the link on our show notes. So let's take a deep dive into this, because I think this is one of the most overlooked benefits of work-life integration, especially when it comes to parenting. By letting your kids see you work, you're teaching them valuable lessons that they might not get themselves. They're not going to get it elsewhere. It's not going to happen at school. And these lessons go far beyond just learning about business itself. So here's lesson number one of the things they can learn from watching you. Hard work and commitment, it's a big one. When kids see their parents working, whether there's running a business or managing a team or even problem solving, they're witnessing what it comes to fruition when you commit to something. They learn that success doesn't come overnight and that effort and dedication are very necessary for success. It's such an important lesson, especially in today's world where that instant gratification is everywhere. You're showing them that good things take time and take effort. What an amazing place to be in, to be able to teach that to your kids through the work that you do. Lesson number 2, passion and purpose. When you're passionate about what you do, your kids see that too. To get to witness that and what it looks like, showing them that you love what you do, that's so important. How often do people end up in careers or jobs that they are not passionate about because they didn't see examples of people truly loving their work? By integrating your kids into your entrepreneurial life, you're showing them that it's possible to build a career around your passions. I have a friend that talks about it very often, how he thought that he would never want a job when he grew up because he saw his parents being miserable every day when they got home from work. That is not what you want to be showing your kids. Lesson number 3, balance is a myth. Flexibility is key. Here's a fun one. By living this life of integration instead of balance, you're teaching your kids that life doesn't have to fit into this neat little box. Things overlap, and that's okay. They will learn flexibility, adaptability, and how to go with the flow. Skills that are going to serve them very well in all kinds of areas of their life. Now let's get into a few more real life examples on how work-life integration can actually play out, because I know this concept might still be a little abstract for some of you. So here's one example. The business owner with kids I work with as a client who runs a very successful design business and has 2 young kids at home. She struggled with that classic balance myth, right? So trying to keep up work, very strict with business hours and home life outside of it. And it really just wasn't working for her. She felt constantly torn between the two of them. So we started implementing small changes like setting clear but flexible boundaries. She started working on creative projects while her kids were napping, and took some work calls while walking into the park. And over time, she found that she wasn't sacrificing time with her kids or her business. Instead, she felt like she was more integrating the two, which gave her a sense of peace. And how amazing is that? Don't you want some of that in your life? Another example I have for you is an entrepreneur couple that I know. They both run a business and they're raising their kids together. So instead of trying to balance everything between them, they fully embrace this concept of integration. They plan work meetings around family activities. One of their favorite things to do is to turn business planning into a family affair. While the kids are doing maybe some homework, they're strategizing their next business moves in the same table. That overlaps really allows them to spend some time together while getting their work done. And again, it shows the kids those experiences of being a business owner and the kind of strategy and thought process that needs to happen when you do own your own business. The key takeaway here is that work life integration it's deeply personal. What works for one person might not work for someone else, but the idea is to let go of the pressure to keep everything so separate and find ways to integrate the work and life and make them support each other. So, how do you start making this shift from balance to integration? Let's talk strategy. Because while the idea is great, I know you need some practical steps to put into action, and I'm here for it. Let's talk steps. Step number one, you can set the flexible priorities every day. You can identify your top priorities in both work and personal life. And then the key here is flexibility. If something shifts, it's completely okay. Maybe today your business needs more attention and tomorrow it's your life. By staying flexible, you take that pressure of yourself to have it all perfect. Step number two, time block, but be adaptable. Time blocking is a fantastic tool for integrating work life. I do have a little cube timer that I use for my own tasks. And again, keep things flexible. Instead of that rigid time block, allow for flexibility. Maybe your work blocks is 3 hours in the morning, but you can shift it later if your kid has a school event. And the point is, don't feel like you're tied to those strict boundaries that leave no room for life to happen to you. That's what a lot of times creates that frustration and the feeling of failure because you cannot equally split your time and effort between those two. Step number three, that involves your support system. And whether your spouse or as a nanny or a business partner, don't be afraid to delegate and involve others. This doesn't mean you're failing, it means you are smart. You can't do everything. And by leaning on your support system, you will find more freedom to integrate work and life without burning out. And when you're not burnt out, then you can show up relaxed and you can focus on the things that are in front of you, like your family or the task at work. We covered a lot today, and I hope you're starting to see that work life balance is not only a myth, but it's also something that we don't need to be chasing at all costs. Work life integration allows us to live more fluidly without the guilt and stress of trying to keep everything separate. As parents and business owners, we have the opportunity to show our kids what it looks like to pursue our passions, to work hard, and to still be present in their lives. And that's a powerful lesson. So let's stop feeling guilty about not having it all figured out and start embracing the flexibility of integration. If you're feeling inspired and want to dig deeper into this concept, check out the freebie I've linked here in the show notes for you is the 5 signs you need to start delegating in your business. This is a great starting point to free up some of your time and start creating more integration in your life. As always, thank you for joining me today. If you enjoy this episode, be sure to subscribe, follow our podcast, and leave us a review. I love hearing from you guys. Share this with a fellow entrepreneur who could use a little work-life integration in their life. That's my main ask for you. Share this with somebody who needs to hear it and that can potentially apply this and create a better environment and a work-life integration environment. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Accidental CEO podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us in the world where creativity and business strategy collide. I am Nata Salvatori, thrilled to have shared this time with you. Remember, every episode is a step closer to mastering the art of being an accidental CEO. So don't miss out. Hit subscribe, drop us a sweet review, and spread the word to your creative tribe. Your next big breakthrough could be just one episode away. Join us next time for more insights, laughs, and actionable tips. Keep pushing boundaries, dreaming big, and embracing the beautiful chaos of entrepreneurship. Here's to make magic happen in your business and beyond.